What's up, everybody? I am not sure what's true or false in this video. This is a gossip video, just like on a gossip blog website. So I take rumor and tea and gossip from online, from magazines, from books, from wherever I can find it, and I ball it up and I tell you guys a story. This video today is a special kind. It's actually an old member exclusive video that I have decided to release to the public for a limited amount of time. This is not common, and please don't believe that it's going to become common. In fact, I probably will never do this again, but I do feel like I am able to share this person's video with the public at this time. But once again, it's only for a limited amount of time before it goes back into the membership vault. So sit back and enjoy the video.
Woo! Ciao. What's up, Scandalites and Said So Squad? And most importantly, what's up, my members? Oh, I love my members so much. You guys are so dear to me. And we are back today with another member exclusive video. This video is about the one and only Clive Davis. Let's go ahead and jump into it, y'all. Clive J. Davis was born on April the 4th, 1932 in Brooklyn, New York. His mother's name was Florence Davis and his father's name was Herman Davis. And of course, the Davis family are of Jewish descent. As far as occupations, it's claimed that his mother was a homemaker and his father was a salesman as well as an electrician. Clive was not the only child. He also had an elder sister named Sina. Now, rumor has it Clive's mother and father getting married was a huge deal. Supposedly, it was the talk of the town when it happened. And this is because Clive's mother was considered a great beauty back in her community. Not only was she considered very beautiful, this woman is said to have a sense of style that was out of this world. There were tons of other men beating down her door waiting to marry her, and these were not just no regular men, honey. No, baby, these men were wealthy. So a lot of people felt like she would marry one of them. But child, Clive's daddy Herman, baby, he had that game. And because of that, she chose him and chose to marry him. Now back to Clive. He had a very normal, happy childhood, but in school, Clive would show his tail, and not in a bad way. Honey, they said Clive loved to be a goody two-shoes. You know what I'm saying? Soon as the teacher asked a question, here go Clive. Ooh, me, pick me, teacher, pick me. You know, he was one of those students, and he would get those questions right. He had straight A's. He was so superior that he was voted as the class president. Clive loved to be at the top of anything that he did. It just gave him a sense of pride, so he would work very hard to get there. And then they also added that let him drop down from number one in his class, and baby, he would get very competitive. And that competitive spirit, I'm sure, followed him all the way into adulthood. So not only is it said that Clive had a great school ethic, they also said that he had a great work ethic. And apparently he started working at the very early age of 15 years old, and he worked in a call center for Sears Roebuck. Now, Clive's life was regular and smooth up until his teenage years, and that is when it hit a small bump in the road. And that is because although his parents loved each other, it was found out that his daddy had not stopped doing him. And the problem was is that now the woman that he was cheating with was too messy, you know, too trifling. Baby, he was trying it, you hear me? And let me tell you who he was cheating with, girl. Clive's mother's sister-in-law. This woman was married to Clive's mother's brother. And so Clive's mother's brother had passed away. And so now this sister-in-law is just kind of off to the side, and she's calling their home about, you know, oh, how it's so hard. You know what I mean? I need money. We need groceries. I just need a man around the house. You know what I'm saying? So Clive's daddy come walking up like Clark Kent. Oh, you know, she just needs some help over there. She's used to having a man's touch over there. So he go driving his car over to the sister-in-law house, and she got way more than a man's touch. Not only is you bringing the groceries, you sitting up there eating the booty like it's groceries. You know what I'm saying? Like that little song they put out, just doing too much. And this broke Clive's heart because he is the one that caught his father cheating on his mother. It made him so mad that he eventually confronted his daddy, and his daddy hit him with some BS like, I mean, you know I love your mama. I would never choose her over your mama. And Clive was like, well, why are you choosing her at all? That while Clive's mother was getting cheated on by her husband, she also fell into a deep, deep sickness. She had terrible high blood pressure that would keep her in the hospital for long periods of time. So while she was in the hospital, her husband is sleeping around messing with her sister-in-law. Herman turned out to be a very, very trifling man, and there is a reason why his father cheating on his mother bothers Clive till this day. It's because in the midst of his father doing all of this, his mother ended up passing away. She went to the hospital and she ended up passing away at the age of 47 years old while she was still being played by her husband. So that is why it still bothers Clive. Crazy thing about it though is that his father did care for his mother, and her death death did eat him up. It bothered him tremendously. It bothered him so bad that he ended up dying the very next year after his wife. I imagine that guilt was eating him up. And so, like I said, he joined his wife in the afterlife at a very early age as well. So after Clive's parents both passed away, he ended up going to live with his elder sister Cena and her husband, and he also enrolled in NYU. At NYU, Clive did exactly what he had done before in elementary and high school. He excelled, and soon he became class president, and he graduated, and his grades were good enough, and he had good enough connections to get into Harvard Law School. Now, not only was Clive killing the grades in college, it also seems like he became sort of a lady killer. And it was not about his looks or anything like that. It was more about his personality. And he really knew how to flirt, put girls at ease. And there was this one girl who really stood out, and her name was Rusty. He really fell in love with her. They dated for a while. But it seems like although Clive liked her a lot, he still was kind of keeping his options open. And that's how this other young lady named Helen came through the door. And Helen was like, hey, you know, I noticed you've been sitting up there messing around with this girl named Rusty. So listen, you can either stay with Musty Rusty or you can come over here on the smell good side, the Helen side. And so Clive, who was probably blown away by this woman that's kind of laying the law, saying, hey, this is what it is. I want more from you. And he kind of liked that. And because he liked this, he chose Helen, and he and Helen actually ended up getting married in the year of 1956. That is also the year that he graduated from Harvard. After Clive graduated from Harvard, he did indeed get a job at a law firm like he had planned to do, but he felt like working in the entertainment business would be a bit more fun than just working as a lawyer. So when CBS or someone who worked at CBS offered him a position, he gladly took it. Now, when Clive got over to CBS, baby, he started going off in his career. So much so that very soon he was vice president of Columbia Records. And then very quickly after that, he was promoted to president of Columbia Records. And by the time that 1971-1972 came around, he had already signed some pretty huge names. We're talking about Bob Dylan. We're talking about Janis Joplin. We're talking about Miles Davis and many, many others. He was very quickly becoming very well known in the entertainment industry. With his name now carrying weight, Clive wanted to dress like it. Out came the very nice expensive suit. Out came the flashy rings. Out came the comb over to the back. Really doing too much for real. But you know, I guess he had to dress the part. But gossip says not only did he try to dress the part, he was trying to live the part. Now see, CBS was paying Clive really, really well. It was a lot of money for you and me, you know what I'm saying? But Clive was trying to be this wealthy, multi-millionaire type of guy. And whatever events he threw, he tried to make them very high class, you know, the pinnacle of success. And because of this, Clive started to do some really, really shisty things. Baby, they said Clive was stealing all kind of money from CBS, child. Taking $50,000 here, $40,000 there, $90,000 there. Child, you might as well call him the embezzling king. Next thing you know, Clive had went to work one day. You know, he's chilling. He got on his nice clothes. He gets called up to the office. He feels like, okay, oh my goodness, here comes another promotion. You know, they're probably trying to make me a chairman. What are these people trying to do now? He gets into the office. He's all smiling. And the person who's sitting across from him was obviously messy, child, because they sitting up there inviting him in. Clive, come on in and have a seat. Soon as his booty touched the cushion, maybe they told him he was fired. Clive's mouth dropped. And then they humiliated him even more by basically calling security up while he was sitting there, telling them to grab him up and escort him out of the building. And I know this ate Clive up, honey, because you know he was embarrassed, because when you're walking out, everybody is looking at you. And baby, I know, because I've been walked out at least 5 times. They kept walking my behind out. But see, Clive should have done what I done, and that was get the Holy Ghost every time I got walked out of a job. Every time I walked out, this all you saw. Because see, y'all sitting up there looking at me, but baby, I'm not finna be looking at y'all. You know what I'm saying? Also, maybe it confused some people. Maybe they felt like, dang, Ashley's so slung in the spirit. You know what I'm saying? She can't even stay at work. I don't know what them folks thought. But all I know is that I was getting to shouting every time I got walked out of a job because I was embarrassed. So this is all bad for Clive Davis. In the blink of an eye, he has lost his job. He has lost his title. He has lost his income. He has nothing. And even worse than all of this, he is now facing federal charges of payola schemes and embezzlement or something like that. I don't know, basically thievery type charges, okay? They have given Clive a choice. He can either plead guilty or he can go to trial. And gossip says that Clive was very much close to going to trial. But this is when a lot of those higher ups that worked for Columbia that were also stealing money stepped in and got in Clive's ear and was like, hey, don't you go to trial, because if you go to trial, they're gonna start digging into us. Take the charge. You know what I'm saying? Plead guilty and let it go. And so this is what Clive did. Well, those very same people contacted Clive after all of this was over and told him, whatever venture you're trying to do, we will put the money up behind it. And that is how Clive started Arista Records so quickly. It was not because of the money he had saved up. That was only money enough to take care of his family. You know what I'm saying? Clive ain't had no money saved up where he can easily pay $100,000 to an artist for a record deal. So that money had to come from somewhere, and it came from those people who he took the charges for. They invested in Clive's company. They invested in his record label. And so that is how gossip says Arista got its start. So anyways, this is the gossip out there about how Clive started his first record label. Who knows if it's true or not, honey? I don't know, but all I know is that we have gotten to the point of him starting Arista. So honey, y'all know what time it is. It is time to get to some of the scandalous tea. Firstly, let me say this. Everything in this video is all speculation, all rumor, and all gossip. Yes, I usually have some contacts, but come on, y'all, get real. I'm not big enough yet to have contacts that will spill anything on Clive Davis, okay? And that's just being honest. Y'all know I do not lie to you guys, so I'm not gonna act like I got pull with Clive Davis that I don't. I don't have that kind of pull for no doggone Clive Davis. But honey, let me tell you something. Just because this gossip did not come from a credible person does not mean that this gossip is not juicy, because baby, it gets downright insane. So without further ado, child, let's get to it. This first piece of gossip says that Clive Davis loves to be a part of a person's success, honey. He loves to take credit of the success from his artist. Many a times, he would get into an artist's face and basically tell them, you wouldn't be nothing without me. Yes, you got a little bit of talent, you kind of got the voice, but baby, it's because of the song I chose. It's because of the musical arrangements that I did, or it's because of my machine getting behind you is the reason why you got to where you are, and you never forget that. I can take that from you in an instant. Matter of fact, it's claimed that he's so petty and so snakish that if an artist chose to write their own songs or use their own music, basically come up with a song, a total song all about themselves, that Clive would actually pull promotion on that song for a bare minimum. So the song wouldn't go anywhere. And he would do this just because he loved to tell the artist, like, hey, you see that little mess you did? You see what I'm talking about? You need me. It's because of me that you got that success. It's said that he did this very thing to Barry Manilow. Barry Manilow signed with Arista Records. His first 2 records that he put out, they did very well. Shout up to the sky, because these are records that Clive basically gave him the songs for. I think on the 3rd album, Barry Manilow wanted to do something on his own, and Clive was like, okay, cool, you know, it's not gonna work, but cool. And Barry was like, hey, just let me try. Don't tell me it's not gonna work. So he put his stuff out, and it did not work. The album did not do anything what the first 2 albums did, and it's claimed that Barry Manilow came to Clive and told him that album didn't work because you pulled the promotion from behind it. And Clive was like, oh, I'm so hurt, you know what I'm saying? I love you like a son. How could you say this? I only want the best for you. And Barry was like, that's a lie. You pulled promotion on my album. So Barry actually left Arista and he got with RCA. But the problem is that I guess RCA was doing even worse than what Clive was doing. So next thing you know, Clive is sitting in his office. All of a sudden, he's getting dinner invitations. You know what I'm saying? Getting all these phone calls. Hey, Clive, can I invite you to dinner? And it's Barry. He's basically trying to get Clive to go to dinner. When he gets to the dinner, Barry is all in tears, talking about how he's the prodigal son. You know, he should have never made that move. Can he please come back to Arista? And Clive is really just, you know, like, I told you, come on back to where it's greater. And so Barry re-signed with him. But there was other artists that would not allow Clive to even get a chance to control them, like Sly Stone. He tried to talk Sly Stone into changing his band's look. He basically told them, hey, you know, that looks like a funk look. I'm trying to get you guys to get a rock audience, a rock crowd. And Sly told him, hey, you need to shut up talking to me. You know what I'm saying? You need to stick to the business side of things. This is my band. You will not change anything in my band. Thank you for what you're saying and doing, but no. And so Sly stuck to his formula, and boom, they still took off. Rumor also says that he tried the same thing with Gil Scott-Heron. He basically told Gil Scott-Heron that, hey, you're doing well. Let me step in and change up some stuff just a little bit. You know, not a lot. And Gil Scott-Heron told him no. Well, Clive was so petty and got so upset about that he just basically dropped Gil Scott-Heron from the record label, period. But the thing is, if Clive thought Gil Scott-Heron was trouble, baby, he was not ready for Miss Phyllis Hyman. Rumor says that she gave him the biggest trouble of all. And I have already gone over this extensively in the Phyllis Hyman video. You guys could go watch that, you know, if you want me to just like explain the whole thing. But here I'm just gonna sum it up and tell you that Clive wanted her to become a pop star, you know, but Phyllis was not about all of that. She was a soul singer, and Phyllis would not give. She just would not give in to his demand. Now, they would have huge blow up arguments, but Clive, instead of cutting her loose when she would not give in to what he wanted, he put her on pause. He instead took away her recording privileges, basically told her she could not record in his studio, but he still had her under contract where she could not record in anybody else's studio. So he put her on a shelf for a long time, and while she was on that shelf, her fanfare died down. So Clive basically let her music career die. You know what I'm saying? He kept her hostage, and that is wrong. That is very trifling to do. And I don't know why he did her like that, but gossip says it's because Phyllis was the right one. She would talk to Clive like he was nothing, talk to him like a little bitty boy, and Clive hated that. Now, let's get into this little rumor, and honey, this one tickled me, honey, because baby, they say you think Phyllis Hyman talked to Clive Davis any kind of way? Baby, they say she ain't had nothing on Miles Davis. Let the folks tell it, every single conversation that Miles Davis and Clive Davis had, Miles would end up going off, and he always used racial slurs. Baby, they said Miles Davis was calling Clive all kind of crooked-nosed Jews, stinking rat bastard. That's just apparently the way he talked, because gossip claims that Miles Davis talked to everybody like this. Now, let me slip in this little weird, awkward tea regarding Janis Joplin. Now, like I told y'all in the Janis Joplin video, Janis Joplin did indeed try to sleep with Clive Davis. So Clive, of course, was shocked, but he just took it down to Janis just being, you know, that was just the way she was. She was just wild and crazy. Well, he quickly came to realize that she was not the only person in her band like this. There's this story about him being in a meeting with Janis and Big Brother in the holding company, and there was this one band member who was sitting at the table without a shirt on. So Clive did think that was unusual, you know what I mean? He was like, dang, I would never not wear a shirt to a business meeting, but whatever, you know, these guys are rock and rollers, that's just the way they are. So Clive is having a good time, he's talking, laughing, and joking, and then the meeting is over, and then next thing Clive knows, all he sees is like two pink bubbles just in his face. You know what I'm saying? They just floating, bobbing, and everything like that. So he sits back, baby, it ain't no pink bubbles at all, it's pink balls, honey. That man was naked, child. And you know how when folks gotta slide from behind the table, you know they got to do this the whole time until they actually from behind the table? That's what that man was doing. So every time he's doing this, his balls is just in Clive Davis' face. And these people are so wild and crazy. I'm surprised that when the dude finally did get around from the table, that he didn't walk over to Clive and kind of bop him on top of the forehead with his penis. And not only did Clive Davis drop tea on that, he also dropped a little bit more tea on Janis. And he said that the way Janis was like ridiculously wild. He said that they could be in public outside somewhere, and Janis would see a nice looking guy, and suddenly she would be like, I like to F him. Oh yeah, I'm finna give him some of this. And then she would go running after the guy, like telling him, you know, ooh, I want to get you in bed. Come on, baby, let's do this. And sometimes the men would take off running, child. So she just running behind them, you know, come get this, come get this. And these folks are scared. Now let's move into the 80s and some of the darker side of the Clive Davis tea. Because in the 80s is when he signed singer Whitney Houston. Now the rumors surrounding Whitney and Clive start to get dark very, very quickly, because honey, don't you know these people are out here saying that Sissy Houston basically offered Whitney up to Clive Davis? There are people out here saying that Sissy actually had a talk with Clive, many talks with Clive, and basically told him, you can do whatever you want, whatever you have to do, whatever is required when it deals with Whitney to make her a superstar, make her a household name. Listen, now Sissy may have told Clive this, but I don't know if she meant it in a negative way. Maybe she just meant like, hey, you can keep my daughter in practice all night, you can do whatever, just make sure you get her good enough to make her a superstar. But a lot of people take this negatively and feel like that Sissy basically offered her daughter up to do things that she shouldn't have had to do to become a superstar. Now, when it comes to the stuff that Whitney was required to do to become a superstar, I do know that there are multiple rumors out here that claim that she had to sleep around with Clive Davis, but not only Clive Davis, she had to sleep around with a few more executives before she really got put on the world stage. And regarding that rumor, Whitney supposedly is not the only big name that had to do that. There's somebody else that had to do that I'll tell you in just a minute. Now, whether Whitney did these things or not, her career did indeed take off. I mean, sister had a meteoric rise immediately. And of course, Clive did what he always did, let everybody know it was because of him and that he he was the reason for her success. He took all the praise and glory. And baby, let me tell you, these folks is out here saying that Clive did not play about Whitney and her godlike image. Honey, it said that anytime somebody tried to put something out to ruin Whitney's image or her career, baby, Clive was on them like white on rice. Let's take Robin Crawford, for example. Now, Clive did not threaten Robin Crawford herself, or at least I didn't read that he threatened her herself, but it is claimed that anybody who knew what was going on between Whitney and Robin Crawford were definitely threatened to keep their mouth shut by Clive Davis. And just to give you an idea of how severe these threats were, the magazines, newspapers, or media sources would pay millions at that time especially, or at least $1 million, to find out information on Whitney Houston. People would turn down that money because whatever threat that was made to them was so severe that they were too scared to take that money. And the thing of it is that somebody did slip through and put something out to the magazines, but let me tell you something, honey. It's claimed that Clive found that original source and he either threaten them or something may have happened to that source. And I'm not saying I believe that, but I will say this. Honestly, it does make sense because a story will stay in the media the more gas and the more traction it gets. That story happened for like that year and never really came back up. You would hear snippets here and there, but it was never really like front page news again, Robin Crawford and Whitney Houston, at least until after Whitney Houston passed away. Now let's move on to Whitney's drug abuse. The first rumor claims that Whitney was not put on drugs by her brother Michael. Very early on, Whitney had a stage performance and that she was very nervous. You know what I'm saying? She just could not get her nerves together. And so Clive came backstage and he had cocaine and he told her, hey, hit this. This will cool your nerves. You know, you won't be nervous anymore. Just hit some of it and you'll have a great, spectacular show. And supposedly Whitney trusted him. And so she did that and she did have a wonderful show. And so after that, it said that every single show she could not go on stage without hitting cocaine first. And so that snowballed into a crack addiction. That's one rumor regarding Clive and Whitney's drug use. The second rumor is this. This rumor says that Clive did not start Whitney on drugs, okay? But it is claimed that Clive knew about it very early on, that he did not do anything about it because he did not care. As long as she kept the money coming in, he was okay with it. He had no qualms about her destroying herself. But if you think that's deep and if you think that's something, child, listen to this. This right here is finna get even messier because it's claimed that not only was Clive like that, Whitney's family didn't care a little bit about her being on drugs. Honey, it said that Whitney's family let her stay on drugs without interruption. They didn't even try to help her, especially very early on, because they only cared about the money and they felt like if they tried to stop her from doing drugs, she would get mad at them or, you know, something would happen with their money, and all they cared about was being able to make their big purchase. That kind of hit me in the feels because essentially what that person was saying was that Whitney's family had offered her up for sacrifice. Baby, these folks is out here saying that it was so bad that Whitney would sometimes go on her crack binges and then she would go around family and she would just be acting crazy. You know what I'm saying? She'd be like, what y'all looking at? What y'all doing? You know, basically, she was always kind of snappy. You know what I'm saying? Whitney has always had that nippy, snappy attitude where she would just like get right with somebody. But the thing is that she would just be, you know, all over the place. And the family would be sitting up there watching her and she would be going off on them. And all they said that the family would say was, whatever, Whitney. You know, whatever, Whitney. And then go laugh amongst themselves and be like, she's saying all that, but hey, all I know is that she paying for my house though. You know what I'm saying? All I know is that she paying for my car. So baby, you can say all that, but guess what? You can stay on them drugs and you can continue paying for my way of life. Baby, listen. Those rumors that I saw basically said that Whitney Houston was used as a meal ticket for almost everybody around her. Now, I ain't gonna lie, when I heard this, I started asking my own questions because I was like, hey, now, somebody got to be lying because I know at least one time Sissy had said something about her like going to Whitney's door, knocking down the door, you know, trying to get her daughter help and crying and all this kind of stuff. But baby, that person shut me up. Child, that person said that yes, Sissy did do that after the money started slowing down. Baby, them folks said that is when family, Clive, and everybody else started putting out all of these sob stories, you know, about how bad Whitney was, you know, and they care so much for her and they just want to get her help. That whole big hoopla where Clive Davis claimed that he wrote a letter to Whitney after he saw on Michael Jackson's tribute looking like a chicken, you know what I'm saying? She clucking out with that hairstyle. Clive claimed, you know, oh, I saw that broke my heart. And so he wrote Whitney a letter just telling her, you know, you look real bad on there. Get help, Whitney, get help. But maybe Whitney felt like, wait a minute, this don't seem genuine. Or maybe they were genuine and she just did not care. Whatever the case, Whitney kept right on down the path that she was on. And after the year around 2001, 2002, Clive really started being hands off with Whitney Houston because, see, he had stepped down from Arista, okay? But then in 2007, Whitney and Clive did hook back up, and he did start talking to her again because he and Whitney had decided to work on an album together. But this meetup and them working together supposedly quickly turned sour because Clive had wanted Whitney to record a pop album, and Whitney wanted to do something more soulful. So he told her, he was like, Whitney, ain't nobody checking for that soulful family background singing mess you've been doing. That's old school, nobody wants that. And Whitney told him, I don't give a doggone what you think. I'm gonna do what I want to do, and like I said, I'm gonna do a soulful album. And that album was released in 2008, and it was called I Look to You. And I'm sure when it came out, Whitney rolled her eyes and shook her booty, honey, because she was right. The album sold very, very well. I mean, it was nothing like her old albums, you know what I'm saying? But that was to be expected, but it still sold very well. And so Clive, at this point, he's just glad money's coming in. He all on the album promotional tour, taking all these pictures with Whitney. You know, she's in all these beautiful dresses, and Clive sitting up there right beside her. You know what I'm saying? Basically trying to take credit for something that clearly was not his idea. Since the album was doing so well, somebody came up with the idea to tour. Now, gossip says Whitney did not want to tour. It is said that Whitney felt like she was not ready to tour. She just was not ready to go out there and sing. She just felt like she could not do that anymore at this moment. And Clive and her family got in her ear and was like, Whitney, there's a lot of money in this. You know, think of how many people will pay to see you. You're Whitney Houston. And so you got Clive saying that in one ear, and then in the other ear you got family. You know, well, Whitney, you know, we ain't got no more money. You know, well, Whitney, you the one bought us that big behind house. You know, we couldn't keep up the mortgage on there. Or, you know, I don't know exactly what they were saying, but basically they were pushing her to go out on this tour. Everybody was just money hungry. And so Whitney, feeling like once again it's all on her, agrees to go on this tour. And it was truly, 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 Lord, one of the worst decisions that she could have ever made. Child, Whitney got on that stage sounding like somebody took a Brillo pad to her throat, honey. I mean, she just sounded any kind of way. And if you think I'm playing, go click the link in the description. Whitney Houston was sounding just like that, just, I looked to you. And the audience were shocked. They could not believe that Whitney Houston had opened her mouth and this voice came out of her. And it was terrible for Whitney because the people felt betrayed because they paid to see Whitney Houston. And when they hear Whitney Houston, you expect for somebody to come out there and blow you away. This is Whitney Houston. So they pay that money for those tickets, and to get this, they felt betrayed. You know, and some of the audience members just got petty, child. I mean, some of them folks just doing too doggone much. They called the news stations and everything. So all of a sudden, all the big time news outlets was playing clips of Whitney sounding like this, you know, people doing news interviews. Yes, I just need my money back. I mean, what the heck was she thinking? You know, doing all that kind of stuff. Patty girl, now you ain't got to do all that. And y'all may be sitting out there like, well, actually, you know what I'm saying? This ain't no Whitney Houston video. This is a Clive Davis video. So what's the meaning of all of this? Well, baby, I'm finna tell you because whoop! Child, honey, the gossip and the tea on the street says that after this failure, Whitney Houston should have started counting her days. Now listen at this, y'all. Rumor has it that because of this showed Clive that he could not make any more money off of Whitney Houston. It showed Clive that Whitney had ruined herself. And he felt that she had done so bad and ruined her voice so much that she would never be able to make a comeback ever again. Because people were going to remember the way that Whitney Houston sounded at that performance. And if she did come out with another album, a lot of people would have felt like that's not her voice. They doing computer tricks to make her voice sound good. That's not Whitney Houston's voice. And because that's not Whitney Houston's voice, I'm not going to buy this album. That is the way gossip says Clive was thinking. There was no more money to be had off of Whitney Houston. Or let me rephrase that. There was no more money to be had off of Whitney Houston alive. So with this in mind, it is claimed that Clive fully pushed Whitney over there to drugs. You know what I'm saying? He did not try to interfere. He did not try to stop anything. Baby, it's folks out here saying that Clive even hooked Whitney up with a man that he knew. He knew a dealer, and he set that dealer on Whitney so Whitney could have a constant supply of drugs in the hopes of Whitney overdosing. Now check this out. Apparently Clive's plan for Whitney Houston to have an early OD didn't go to plan. You know what I'm saying? Whitney must have knew how much she could have, and baby, she must have didn't want to leave this earth, you know, so child, she did not OD, whatever the case. And so since this did not go as planned, gossip claims that when the 2012 Grammys came around, Clive Davis made it his business to invite Whitney to those Grammys. Some people even claim that he got in touch with Ray J, honey, and told Ray J to talk her into coming to the Grammys. And you know the reason why. That was Clive's chance, and when Whitney was up in that room, Clive Davis had sent someone up there to strangle Whitney Houston in that tub. And honey, they even go further than that. Not only do they say that that person strangled Whitney, they claim that that person also could have tortured Whitney Houston by running very hot water over her legs or arms or somewhere to scald her skin. It is claimed that the autopsy reports show this, along with multiple bruises on Whitney Houston. When they say that she fell and bumped her head or something like that, of course, they claim that that's not the truth. Somebody bust her upside the head, put some hot scalding water on her behind, and then they started to strangle her. And honestly, if this has some truth to this, I believe that what they did was go in there and startled Whitney and started to strangle her, but Whitney Houston was a fighter and she started fighting back. And that is when somebody must have bust her up against the head, you know, and probably she was still fighting. They was like, okay, you want to play with me? Turned on that scalding hot water and burned her behind. You know what I'm saying? I just think that if all of this is true, I feel like that Whitney was fighting back, and that's probably why she had those multiple bruises. Now, when I did read all of this stuff about Clive possibly murdering Whitney and all of this kind of stuff, of course, I had the huge question of why. Well, baby, once again, they shut my behind up all over again because they was like, hey, stupid, are you dumb or something? Money is the cause. Money is the issue, because if Whitney Houston had passed away, Clive Davis could make way more money off of her death than he could ever do while she was alive, especially with her voice messed up the way it was. So basically, to tie all of this stuff together, what they were saying is that once Whitney Houston opened her mouth on that stage and the world saw that her voice was not what it used to be, Clive Davis made the decision that it was time for her to die, because he could make more money off of her death than when she was alive, because everybody knows that when a person dies, their records, their albums start to sell like crazy. And the thing about this is that it's no lie, especially with Whitney Houston. Her record sales soared. In fact, they are still soaring. Her record sales are doing so well that an album that she came out with in 1987 named Whitney 2 or Whitney or something, I don't know, whatever. It came out in 1987. Don't you know that earlier this year, or maybe even last year, I'm not sure, that record finally hit diamond status, because that's just how much money Whitney is generating after death. So I'm guessing it boils down to, do you believe that Clive Davis would commit murder to make sure he continues making his money? Whether you believe it or not, apparently there are millions of people out here who do believe that yes, Clive Davis will indeed commit murder. Honey, let me tell you, it gets even deeper than that. There are people out here to believe that Clive Davis is actually the Grim Reaper of the music industry. Let me tell you what I mean by that. There is a rumor out here that says that Clive Davis will put hits out on people for other people. Like, let's say there's another record label executive or another big name person that wants to benefit off the death of an artist, or they just want that artist gone because the artist is talking too much or whatever. They said that Clive Davis is the man to call. These people will call Clive Davis. Clive Davis will set up the arrangements for his goons or thugs or whoever, his hitmen, to go out and assassinate these people, murder these people, and then Clive Davis, of course, will get the payment from whatever record exec or whatever big name person that wanted the hit to be done. It is said that you don't mess with Clive Davis. You know what I'm saying? He is not the man to mess with, which makes me want to remind you that all of this is rumor. In fact, I don't even know what I'm talking about in this video. You know, I might be actually kind of going crazy right now, but these are the rumors that are out there. So I just needed to put that reminder out there. But back to what I was saying, the people that believe this about Clive basically say, you know, just look at the evidence. They claim that Clive have a lot of artists, you know, that were around him, or artists that he signed that have died very mysterious deaths. Or really, it ain't really mysterious. Usually they say it's usually a drug overdose or something like that, but they said it's been a few of them. You got Whitney, you got Janis Joplin, then you got Rob Pilates from Milli Vanilli, which, to throw in a little tea about them, it is claimed that Milli Vanilli later on in their years started telling anybody who would listen, or at least Rob Pilates Pilatus was telling anybody who would listen that, hey, Clive Davis knew that we were not singing. As a matter of fact, we were upset with Clive Davis and Frank Farian when we found out that it was not our voices on those records, but they told us to shut our mouth and let's just make this money. But Rob Pilatus, not only apparently was he saying this, he also started telling people how he sold his soul to the devil. He started telling people that he signed a blood contract. You know, apparently started talking about that. I guess he was talking too much. People say that the hitmen came for him, and in 1998 he was found dead, it said, because of drugs and alcohol. Now, it is also rumored that Clive murdered Phyllis Hyman, but that one, I ain't gonna lie, I'm iffy about a lot of this stuff, but that one I'm really iffy about, because Phyllis Hyman left from Clive's record label in 1985. She did not pass away until 10 years later, 1995. So, you know, I don't know. And then also, you know, I guess he could have made more money off of her dead, but I don't really think that Phyllis Hyman's record sales like started picking up like that after she passed away. So I don't know about that one, you know, but who knows? Maybe Phyllis Hyman was on another record label or dealing with somebody else with business, and they called Clive up, and Clive, you know, sent his hitman. I don't know. This brings us to the rumors of Left Eye and her death. But in order to give you the full groove or the full motion on this, I need to give you a little background on TLC TV. So anyways, TLC was signed to LaFace Records, okay? And LaFace Records was formed under the Arista umbrella. Now, we all know that TLC never really made any money from their work. Here's where it gets a little bit messy, a little bit dirty. Because from what we know, Pebbles and L.A. Reid took their money, mostly Pebbles, okay? See, gossip says that's a lie. Gossip says that Pebbles was a scapegoat, and the real person who took their money was Clive Davis. I'm not sure how I feel about that, because although Clive may have stolen some of that money, it's hard for me to feel like Pebbles and L.A. Reid just didn't do nothing. So anyway, Crazy Sexy Cool, the album comes out. This album makes over $70 million in sales, okay? TLC gets paid $50,000 a piece. That's it. So these girls are fuming mad, especially Left Eye. You know what I'm saying? She's like, $50,000 a piece? That is $150,000 for all three of them. And the record made $70 million? And they're like, no, like, hey, like, y'all doing us wrong, like for real wrong. So it said that all of the girls started calling L.A. Reid back and forth, you know, and they're asking like, where's our money? Where's our money, L.A., for real? This is not right the way you're doing us. And at first, L.A. just kind of like dismissed them. He was dodging their calls, always out of the office, stuff like that. But TLC stayed in hot pursuit. So finally, it's claimed that he answered the phone and they asked him, where's our money? He said L.A. Reid told them girls, hey, listen, I'm sorry, it's out of my hands. Your checks were given to Clive Davis. And so from there, TLC started hunting down Clive Davis. You know what I'm saying? They was calling him all the time, and every time Clive is in a meeting, you know, Clive is busy, Clive is not here, blah, 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 blah. And so they were stuck. You know what I'm saying? They were at a loss of ideas of what to do. That is when Left Eye was like, oh, y'all giving up? You know, and they're like, well, we don't know what else to do. And Left Eye was like, baby, I know what to do. We finna go roll up on Clive. And they're like, well, you know, they said he was in a meeting and all this kind of stuff. And Left Eye was like, I don't give a doggone about no meeting. I said we're about to roll up on Clive. So they all jump in the car, and there's this rumor about their cousins, big girl cousins were in the car like security guards. I don't know. Whatever the case, everybody rolls up and they get to Arista Records. They jump out of the car, they run into the front of the building. The secretary is trying to stop them. You know, oh, you know, Clive Davis is in the meeting. They telling her, shut up, B. You know what I'm saying? They running in. So they run into the meeting that Clive Davis is in, open the door, and they all up in his office, you know. And whoever Clive Davis was meeting with, that person left out of the office in a hurry because it's claimed that Left Eye took out a gun and pointed it straight at Clive Davis's face and was like, we need our money now. And so Clive is like, you know, girls, what's going on? And they're like, you know what's going on. You done took our money. We need our money right now. And so Clive does indeed supposedly write them a check for I don't know how much. And so they're like, okay, good. You know, this will work for now. Give us the rest of our money later and all this kind of stuff. And I think they also stole some of their memorabilia while they were there or something like that. And then they leave the office. Well, after it's all over, TLC was happy because Clive never called the cops. You know what I'm saying? He never reported anything. And really, they just went back to business as usual. You know, like nothing ever happened. But gossip has it that Clive on the inside was fuming, and he was very embarrassed that they had handled him like that. And the thing that messed with his pride and ego most of all was the fact that Left Eye pulled a gun on him. And it's claimed that Clive never forgave Left Eye for pulling that gun on him, and he had something in his spirit where he was like, you know, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you because you done too much. And so supposedly he finally saw his chance in 2002 when Left Eye went off on this like life purpose tour of Honduras. And it said that Clive thought this was the best time to get his lick back because people had already felt like Left Eye had went off the deep end. She was speaking on positivity, manifestation, law of attraction, and things like that. And today we know these things are real, we know these things are true, and we know these things are very good for people to do. But back then that stuff was unheard of. You know what I'm saying? What are you talking about? Law of attraction and positivity and energy? What are you talking about, Left Eye? So when she went off to Honduras to kind of find herself and her life purpose and stuff, Clive felt like, you know, everybody's looking at her like she crazy anyway. You know, her reputation is messed up. So supposedly that is when he put a hit out on her. And in early April 2002, Left Eye was a passenger in a SUV, I do believe, and the SUV was driving along the road and a little boy came out suddenly in front of the car, okay? There was a collision, they hit that little boy, and that little boy passed away. Now it's claimed nobody saw how that little boy just instantly got in the middle of the road like that, but of course gossip claims that he was pushed. You know what I'm saying? Somebody obviously planted him there to cause this collision. Well, like I said before, the little boy was hit and he passed away. Left Eye, on the other hand, walked away with the incident with no injuries. So obviously, if this was a real hit, this was a failed hit. So 2 weeks later, Left Eye was again in a SUV. She was the driver this time, and this time she was involved in another collision, and this time it did take her life. So if this was a hit, the hit had succeeded. And another thing that made people feel like this was a hit is because Left Eye was in the car with at least 4 or 5 other people, you know what I'm saying? But she was the only one that died. She was the only one that passed away. And also, if you look at her death photos, it looks like she only had a bump in the head. Now, I'm not saying that she couldn't have internal injuries and internal bleeding, but some people feel like something may have happened to her in that car. Somebody with her in that car may have done something to her, you know, and she lost control. And, you know, I don't know. But here's the thing about this rumor, because all of this was said to happen because Clive did not ever forgive Left Eye for pulling that gun on him. But the thing is, T-Boz came in not just a few years ago and said that people lied about that. There was not a gun involved in that anywhere. So T-Boz said nobody even had a gun. Now, let me tie in some more gossip with this one. So when TLC burst into that meeting that Clive was having, it is said that Clive was actually meeting with Puff Daddy. And this leads me to the ultimate messy behind tea with Clive Davis and Puffy Sean Combs. Now let's begin with the #1 rumor out about them. The rumor that says that in order for Clive Davis to become a distributor and to fund the startup of Bad Boy Records, this rumor claims that Puff Daddy had to bend over and give it up for Clive Davis. It's also said that he had to get on his knees and do some, you know, some stuff like that for Clive Davis. But get this though, the rumor does not stop there, because it's said that even after this initial contact of what Puffy had to do, it's claimed that he and Clive were still in a relationship or still messing with each other after that for at least 5 years. It's also said that Andre Harrell, I'm not exactly sure how to say that. It's also claimed that he had to give it up, bend over and get on some knees to do some things in order for Clive Davis to do the things he did for him. Now check this out. This is where it gets a little strange, because it's claimed that not only did Puffy have this relationship from Clive Davis basically made Puffy like his miniature him. You know what I'm saying? Everything that he learned, everything he knew, he put this knowledge into Puff Daddy, and that comes right down to the Grim Reaper, because it's claimed that Puff Daddy is the Grim Reaper for the R&B side of things, okay? That Puff Daddy, when it comes to rappers and R&B, Puff Daddy is Clive Davis of that. Baby, all I know is that it's claimed that Puffy has had a hand in many folks being killed. And yes, Biggie Smalls is supposedly one of them. Said that Clive Davis told him, hey, you need to have one major death, you know what I'm saying? And if you have a major death, you can build up all of your artists off the backs of him. I don't know how to put it, but whatever the case, that death would make your record label major, I guess, and then you build up everybody else off of that. Then, child, listen to this. It's claimed that one of the latest deaths that Diddy was behind was of his ex, Kim Porter. Supposedly, Kim Porter was about to put out a tell-all book, and in this tell-all book, she had Puffy's name as well as Clive Davis's name in that book that she was about to put out. And it's claimed that, hey, they couldn't have that, so Puffy sent the goon. And when it comes to this Puff Daddy and Clive Davis tea, there is this lady that's on YouTube a lot. Her name is Jaguar Wright, and supposedly she has a lot of information about Clive Davis and his minions, especially when it comes to the R&B rap side of things, because she's out there saying that, like, not only is it Puff Daddy that's one of his minions, there's Alicia Keys, there's Mary J. Blige, and I think maybe she even said Jill Scott or something like that. I'm not sure, but she really knows how to go into detail and explain everything, and you guys can look her up. There will be plenty of videos that come up with her name. It's Jaguar Wright with a W, right? Okay, and she has tons of videos, and I can't explain this how she does because this is her stuff. So she knows how to tie all of this stuff together, and it really opens your eyes. You know, some folks think she's crazy, think she's talking crazy, they don't believe everything she say, but then other folks feels like she's legit because she was part of the music industry at one time. Now, I will say one of the things that she put out about Mary J. Blige is what I told y'all about Whitney Houston in the beginning, that Mary J. Blige has had to suck and plenty of people to sweeten the deal, that Mary J. Blige would be the #1 woman that they would send in, and she would have to lay on her back and, you know, do what she had to do in order to get people to work with Bad Boy or to work with Arista or Sony or whoever. Like, Mary J. Blige was the it woman. Now, again, I don't know if there's any truth to what Jaguar Wright says, but there was this one time that she produced an email that she said was sent by Clive Davis, and I saw the email, and I think I'm gonna put a picture of it up here if I can find it. But the email basically said something to the effect of, you know, keep my name out your mouth or you're gonna be murdered. You know, that's the gist of what it was saying. Stop talking about me or I will find you, I will kill you. Now, to me, this email seems fake. I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, Clive is a big time president. Right now, he's the president of the Sony Records. You know, first of all, I'm pretty sure he uses his business email. Second of all, I'm pretty sure whether it's a business or personal email, any email he uses is super encrypted. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you're just gonna be able to screenshot the emails and share them like that. And then also, I doubt that Clive Davis is writing a threatening email where he's actually threatening to do harm to somebody and putting his name on it. You know what I'm saying? Hello, this is Clive. I will kill you. You know, I just feel like Clive is not doing that. I'm sorry. Now, I'm not saying that Jaguar Wright faked this email. You know what I'm saying? It could be somebody who was watching her videos and wanted to mess with her, and they wanted to act like they were Clive, and they sent her this email, and she just somehow believed it was Clive Davis. But in my personal opinion, I don't think that this email was written by Clive Davis. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Now, regarding the rumor that Clive passed a lot of his bad behavior down to Diddy, there's something else that it said that he passed down to Diddy, or Diddy has to do now because of Clive. So there's this rumor out there that Clive is a cult leader, okay? And some people even say that he's the devil. I don't know, but whatever. With this cult leader thing, it's claimed that Clive throws these super secret sex parties, okay? And these are people that want to sign with Clive or people that want to work with Clive or whatever. They have to go through like this initiation with this sex party or orgy, okay? So when you get there to the orgy, whoever is the invitees or the people who are now in attendance that want to be a part of Clive's group, they have to participate in this orgy. So while this is going on, everybody is just having a good time, I guess. But honey, listen to this. This is where it get crazy, child. Because apparently while it's going on, Clive comes in and he has on a hood, a robe with a hood on it, okay? And he just comes in and he's just watching, okay? People continue doing what they're doing, and then all of a sudden 6 other figures are supposedly come up around the room, and they all just kind of surround these people who are in the middle of the floor having the orgy. These 6 figures come around, they all have hoods, but you cannot see their faces, all right? So I don't know who these other people are, and the rumor gets strange because some people even feel like these are not even people, okay? For some reason, people feel like these are demons or something like that, y'all. I don't know. I know it sounds strange and I'm laughing about it, but this is the rumor. You know, people got a lot of rumors out here about Clive. This is a part of it. So apparently at these sex orgy parties, Clive is there with his hood on and his robe, and then while people are like in their own world, okay, nobody's paying attention to him, that is when these other 6 figures come and they surround the room and they just sit there and they just watch, you know. And then when it's all over, the 6 figures are gone and Clive is the only one standing and remaining. I guess the fact that those 6 figures like kind of disappear or nobody knows who they are, I guess that is why people feel like they are otherworldly or they are not from this earth, you know. And then you got these rumors out here that says Clive is like a lizard king devil or something. Y'all, I don't know how to explain those rumors because I don't really get into conspiracy theories that much. This rumor right here is leaning more on the conspiracy theory type side. But anyway, supposedly this cult-like orgy, Puff Daddy does these as well. He comes in with his hood. Another 6 figures also come in with these parties that Puff Daddy throws. I do want to add this little piece of gossip in about Whitney Houston though, because I forgot to bring it up when I was talking about her. It is claimed that Nick Gordon was the assassin or the hitman that Clive Davis sent to kill Whitney Houston. In fact, there are people out here saying that Nick Gordon met with Clive Davis at least 2 weeks, like in person, an in-person meeting. Nobody knows what the meeting was about. And then of course 2 weeks later, Whitney Houston was dead. And it's also said that Clive Davis may have sent Nick Gordon to kill Whitney Houston's daughter, Bobby Christina, in the same exact way. And then Clive Davis sent somebody to kill Nick Gordon because, of course, he died last year. Now let me get into this next rumor. This rumor is involving Jenifer Hudson. It's said that when Jenifer Hudson signed with Arista and J Records back in 2006, I do believe, and both of these record companies were Clive Davis record companies, okay? So when Jenifer Hudson signed with them, this theory says that Clive Davis came to her and told her that she was his chosen one. She was the one to replace Whitney Houston, that he would give her everything and he would make her a diva. She would be the pinnacle of success. But all she had to do was sign a blood contract, meaning she had to sacrifice somebody. And y'all know where I'm going with this, because yes, this rumor claims that Clive Davis told Jenifer Hudson that she needed to sacrifice some of her family for a title that big. And so it's claimed that that murder of her mother, her brother, and her nephew in 2008 was actually a blood sacrifice that Jenifer Hudson supposedly knew about, and she had made this deal with Clive Davis to make that happen. But see, the thing is, it's said that they hit a bump in the road, because see, even though Jenifer Hudson's family was murdered and everything like that, her career did not take off like that. And they claimed that when she did not take off, that everybody around her got desperate. They changed the way she looked, her style of dress, she lost weight, you know what I mean? They put her in a relationship with David Otunga. They basically tried to give her this image of America's sweetheart. And they said that she was really supposed to blow when she did the tribute to Whitney Houston after Whitney Houston passed away. Well, guess what? None of this stuff worked. Nothing happened. You know, Jenifer Hudson did not blow up to Whitney Houston type status. So does that mean that all of this was just a lie? There was no blood sacrifice? Because that's what it proves to me, you know what I mean? But what y'all think? Now, this next rumor we get to involves Aretha Franklin, and it is claimed that Clive Davis loved Aretha Franklin to death. Like, he would worship the ground she walked on, especially when he was trying to get her to come over to Arista Records. But I think somewhere years down the line, their relationship went sour, because it's claimed in 2005, 2006, Aretha wanted off of Clive's label. She felt like she was Aretha Franklin and she deserved more, but Clive wanted her to stay. He begged her to stay. Clive is like, Aretha, we've had great history together. What about a rose is still a rose? You know, a rose is still a rose. And baby, Aretha cut him off and was like, what I am is what I am, and what I am is off this label because you ain't paying me enough money, sir. And so they could not find common ground, and Aretha did indeed leave the label, and she started her own label called Aretha, in which she put out some future projects. Well, once again, gossip claims that Clive never forgave Aretha Franklin for this. He held on to this, and this made him very upset. So it said he finally got the chance to hit her back at an award ceremony. And this was the ceremony where Beyonce called Tina Turner the queen. Y'all remember when that all happened and Aretha Franklin was so upset, you know, because she was the queen? Well, it said that Beyonce didn't just do that just to do that. It is said that Clive came up to her behind the scenes and told her that she better make sure that when she get on that stage, she referred to Tina Turner as the queen. He told her to do that, and Beyonce went out there and did it, and they said that the reason he told her to do it is because he wanted to throw shots at Aretha Franklin. That's very petty, but hey. Now let's get to this next rumor, and this rumor is not about Clive Davis. This is something that Clive Davis said himself, and this is regarding Michael Jackson and Jermaine Jackson. And Clive Davis said that Michael Jackson did everything in his power to keep the career of Jermaine Jackson down. In fact, it's extra gossip out here that says Michael Jackson did everything in his power to keep the career of his brothers down. It said that he didn't care too much about his sisters. You know, if they wanted to go off and have a good career, he was cool with that. But his brothers, it said that Michael did not want them to have a music career at all. And it's claimed he focused mostly on Jermaine because Jermaine was the only one that could kind of compete. And really, he wasn't really worried about Jermaine at first, but Jermaine ended up putting out a song that started doing numbers. The song was a hit. It was called Do What You Do. And listen, baby, let me tell you something. Jermaine hit a gold mine with that song. That song is the bomb, honey. I love that song. I'm gonna put a link in the description. Y'all can see it for yourself. But anyways, Jermaine put that song out, and that is when Michael started to get upset. And then also he found out that Jermaine was working with Babyface, and that is how Jermaine was getting all of this good music. So when Michael found this out, he called Babyface up and was like, yeah, this is Michael Jackson, and I need you to work on some stuff with me. Don't worry about Jermaine. He's a nobody, and all of this good stuff. You know, just saying that to Babyface. And Babyface was like, you know, I am kind of working on Jermaine. And Michael was like, hey, listen, I'll pay you double what Jermaine is paying you. I'll pay you whatever. You know, I really want you to work with me. And so Babyface was like, I mean, this is Michael Jackson. first of all. Second of all, he's paying me more, so he started working with Michael Jackson. And Clive Davis said Jermaine called him in tears, said Jermaine broke down crying, and he was like, I don't know why Michael is doing this. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why he won't let me have my own career. It's not like I'm gonna be as big as he is, but let me have something. And so eventually that sadness inside of Jermaine turned into anger. So for some reason, Jermaine got this stupid idea to record like a stupid beef diss song, you know what I'm saying, where he was like singing, rapping kind of, you know, and trying to diss his brother Michael. And this song was called Word to the Bad. But before Jermaine could even put the song out, Michael Jackson heard about it, and he called Clive Davis and told Clive Davis, I want that song off of Jermaine's album. And so Clive was like, hey, I can't do that to the artist, you know what I'm saying? I cannot take the song off of the album. But what Clive did do was call Jermaine and was like, hey, you know, you need to change some of the words, it's kind of harsh and all this kind of stuff. And so Jermaine changed some of the words and stuff. Now you have released a diss song. The words have been watered down, first of all. Second of all, nobody knows about the beef that you and Michael are having. The public doesn't know about that. They don't know that Michael has stolen Babyface from him. They don't know that Michael is being petty. So it just makes Jermaine look bad. You done came out with this week behind this song. You still got that Jerry curl on your head. You know what I'm saying? You jealous of your brother because your brother is bigger than you. So anyway, out of all of that gossip, now we have come to more recent gossip, and this is gossip that Clive released himself when he wrote his memoir in 2013. And basically in that book, he did come out to say that he was bisexual. He said one time in the 70s at Studio 54, he had a grand time and he met a guy there, and that night he had his first homosexual experience and he enjoyed it, and then from then on he's been bisexual. He's loved men and he's loved women. People of course have said that that's a bisexual lie. There's not no bisexual in it. Clive Davis is homosexual, and for some reason he's too scared to admit that, you know, and they said that he just needs to come on out the closet. I don't know how true that is, but I will say this: for the past 7 years, Clive Davis has been in a relationship with a man. And you guys, this is it. This is really all of the meat of the gossip I found on Clive Davis. And once again, this gossip is all hearsay. Like I said, I found this gossip on gossip columns. So, you know, I don't know if you guys want to believe it or not. I will say this: possibly where there's smoke, there's fire. You know what I'm saying? So just take that how you want to take it. I will say this last piece of gossip: Clive Davis is still alive and kicking. And honey, somebody put out there that he is still looking for his next Whitney Houston, and baby, they say that he will do anything to find the next Whitney Houston and to get on top of the world once again. So this is it for my old Hollywood exclusive on Mr. Clive Davis. If anything else pops up, if I find anything else out, y'all know that I'll go ahead and hit y'all up in the live and tell y'all the rest of the secrets. But for right now, this is what I got. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I love you guys so much, and now it's time to get ready for another video. See you guys. Bye.